In this episode, we engage in a discussion on the U.S. foreign policy and the consequences of military actions in the Israel-Iran war. In our Make Me Wanna Holler segment, the fellas' conversation delves into the international community not voicing the inhumane conditions in Gaza. To wrap up with our Save the Children, the fellas emphasize the need for future generations to uphold democratic principles and foster inclusive, non-divisive relationships. I'm Thomas Corley with Keith Pickens and Michael Miller. This is the What's Going On podcast. Thank you for listening. What's going on, Keith Pickens?
Hey, TC, what's going on? Hey, Mike.
Hey, Key.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mr. Corley.
So, those of you who were elected our current president, who said that he was going to stop the two wars that are taking place, how do you feel now that we're going into our third war? Ask yourself that question.
Right.
How do you feel? Here we are. Well, I can't say it's an act of war officially because Congress didn't authorize this thing. So here we are, part of a conflict that they're saying in the administration that it's not an act of war. It's just an act of war on nuclear proliferation, I guess you want to say.
What the international community is saying it. I guarantee you Russia is saying it. Iran is saying it.
Everyone in Europe is saying
Russia
it.
is
South
clearly-
America, all the Latin countries are saying
France.
it. Yeah,
Absolutely. It's an act of war. And I think I'm in an alternate universe, and I'll let you get back to how you were going to kick it off. Before I sat down, I actually saw on MSNBC, they had Marjorie Greene, not direct, via Fox, because she's not going to talk directly to MSNBC. But she is against what Trump has done. And she said she's going to let her feelings be known because according to her, it's proof that MAGA is not a cult. So it's an alternate universe anytime Marjorie Greene says something that aligns with my frame of thought. And I didn't hear everything she had to say, but the fact that she disagrees with him means she's aligning with thought, because I don't agree with this. I mean, you talk about being a hawk. This guy is just stone mad. But anyway, I digress.
Now, whatever the reason was that they did it, it puts us as Americans at risk, and it puts our military at risk, those who are stationed in the Middle East. They're now on high alert constantly because of this action. And I think civilians here in America or wherever they are should be on high alert against aggressions. For these actions that we are doing along with Israel are going to have future repercussions because of other countries going to decide that now we need nuclear weapons.
I thought where you were going with it to a certain extent is that there are cells within this country already that are waiting to operate based on the word say go. And so, it was suggested in an article that just on the word from Iran, they could begin to initiate some of the inner cells that are here. And apparently there have been some that have been put down that were trying to get a group together to assassinate Donald Trump, as Mike would call him. So there are active cells in the U.S., and I'm sure that we're watching them closely. Nevertheless, they could get
even with the cells,
charged up.
you still have domestic people who follow that front.
No,
The thing is that
100%.
the potential for violence, destruction, those are things that are going to be real from here on out. There's no going back.
Absolutely.
The genie is out of the bottle, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to what you guys said, to Keith's point with the Marjorie Taylor Greene thing and the other Republicans that have come out and said, look, we need to go ahead and start using our War Powers Act. The reason they don't agree with it, and it's the reason that we all don't agree with it, nobody wants war, number one. Nobody wants the U.S. to get into that conflict. We have no business there. We have no business doing that. Number two, we expected him to do something after his Sweet 16 party. He had all the military parading down the streets of Washington, but he needed some fireworks. Why you have a parade? You ain't got no fireworks. You got to have some real fireworks. We don't want no little fireworks. We want some real fireworks.
Yeah.
But thirdly, we've all seen this horror movie before. When George Bush made up that weapons of mass destruction against Iraq, which there were none. He sent Colin Powell before the United Nations with pictures of bombs and missiles being put into place, and we didn't find anything. In the end, we said, well, he's a bad man. We just don't like it. So we've seen this horror movie before. We accuse these people of doing something, making up something that is not happening. Even his own, I can't think of her name, the national security lady.
Yeah.
She told you, like we said last week, none of us is as smart as all of us. All presidents depend on the people they hire to tell them the truth. She told them the truth. They're not close to a nuclear weapon,
She did.
but he didn't care. And the reason he didn't care is because when he was elected, the first thing he did was pull out of the agreement
Right.
that we already had with Iran. We wouldn't be doing this today if the U.S. had not pulled out of that agreement.
That was his first term.
Right. That was his first term, right?
He pulled out, but it's led to this, Mike. So you're right.
Correct.
You're right.
Correct. So we're the ones that did this.
Mhm.
You know, everything was going fine. The U.S. pulled out. Well, then what do you expect them to do?
Right.
Everybody knows what the U.S. government will do. They're snakes. They always have been and always will be to anybody in the world and to its own people. They have always been snakes. They'll say one thing and do another.
Well, to that point, Mike,
to the rest
to
of the
that
world,
point, now you have other countries processing whether or not they should start their nuclear program. You know, it can't depend on America to defend them.
Germany said as much. Now we've got to commit 2 times as much to our budget as before so that we can build up our military so that we can have a semblance, if not total independence, because they can no longer rely on the good old US of A.
No.
So you're right, Tom. Even before he decided to bomb Iran, Germany suggested strongly, their chancellor said, we've got to do, and he was just newly elected, by the way. And he said he ran against kind of like Trump. He said, I'm going to do everything to make sure that we maintain peace, that we don't proliferate, that we don't build up. And then when Trump decided to pull out, he said, you know what? I got to reverse that. As much as I don't want to, we have to. And even if that means we have to double our committed budget, which hurts their economy, obviously, we're going to do it because we can no longer depend on the United States. And so, yeah, there's that.
Yeah.
You know, snakes on the plane. I was being somewhat facetious, but like you said, to the rest of the world, they look at what the U.S. said and what the U.S. does. And those are 2 completely opposite things. So once we went into Iran with this preemptive war, whatever we want to call it, preemptive strike, now China, they don't see any reason why they can't go into Taiwan. North Korea doesn't see any reason why it can't pursue what it wants to do. India wants to take over Pakistan. And Russia, that really tells them, oh, we did the right thing.
They're the hypocrites because they're denouncing what we did and they're still in Ukraine.
And they're doing it. Right.
Diplomacy is out the window.
Oh, 100%.
Nobody's going to have conversations.
It's going to be tough to have a conversation. So how can you go in and bomb Iran's 3 nuclear sites and not anticipate that they're going to want some get back, that they're going to try to do the same thing? They tried to do it in Qatar. They were unsuccessful because they were able to shoot down most of the incoming missiles, if not all of them. But nevertheless, they made an effort and they said they're not finished.
Well, no, that was a calibrated, what they call a calibrated response.
Right.
It was my understanding that we launched 14 bunker busters against them. They shot 14 missiles against us. It was calibrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
They knew, it wasn't meant to go further than that. You know, and they knew that most of those missiles would be shot down when they shot them off. It's just to show the world, okay, we're not dead.
Right.
But you're right. That's not really what the response is going to be. That we have to wait on. That's right.
Might differ from Iraq. I'm sorry, Tom, because you made a comparison different from Iraq. Let's acknowledge that they do have the capabilities in terms of making a nuclear weapon. You also can't downplay the fact that they're not waiting for you to just come over here and do what you did by bombing 3 different sites. It's a shell game. Allegedly, they had already moved these gases to a different place. When I looked at the map, Iran is huge. And so to that end, you have to do a lot of bombing to try to figure out where they've moved these gases if they have, and they said they have, some of the analysts had suggested the same, because we can look at their country and there's different sites where you can determine or detect different gases. Where we bombed, apparently it was more or less for naught. President Trump celebrated, talked about how devastating it was and how successful it was. But the reality is it was almost for show, because it did not result in the destruction that he had imagined or that he's trying to sell.
Oh, you're not saying Operation Midnight Hammer failed.
I'm just saying that it was much ado about nothing, because he's trying to say that he wiped out their capacity. But if they moved it ahead of him, anticipating that something like that could happen, then yeah.
Everybody has spies. And it was leaked to them that this was going to happen. We saw the pictures of the trucks lined up, removing the material from those sites. The most vital material that had to be removed was removed. So, yeah, you may have bombed that site, but you didn't destroy the material, like Keith said, the gases, You didn't destroy the material, the enriched uranium. That is going to be necessary to continue the program. It's going to be at a slower pace, but they're going to continue.
I like what you said, Mike. They're going to continue, and they will continue, but they don't have to create a bomb as perfect as ours to do that destruction. Instead of taking 10 years of completion, they can have it done in 5 years, 3 years, and it doesn't have to be set up.
That's the point.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now that they know we're coming for them, why would they leave it in one area so that it could be detected? And the other part to that for me is, if, to your point, Mike, we can see through our detection where these trucks are, and their infinite wisdom, before they bombed those specific areas, why didn't they follow the trail? Why didn't they go for? I know that would have been dangerous, because you definitely don't want to emit any nuclear gas. That'll be devastating. But it's a touch and go. It's a touch and go situation where you're really playing with fire, for lack of a better expression, because that could lead to bigger things and much worse things. And I think you alluded to it earlier. It certainly could have repercussions for our country, because we've been a safe harbor, but we're getting less and less safe.
I'm just baffled by the fact that we took those actions. All we were doing was assisting Israel. And now we're saying that we're trying to protect the globe by destroying some countries' sovereignty, by just trying to destroy their nuclear capability. And I'm just...
I'll pose the question: did we influence Israel? Did we encourage Israel? Because at first it was Hamas, and then out of nowhere they decided, well, hey, we've got word that they're close to making a nuclear bomb, and so this is what we're going to do. They did their thing, and then Big Brother came right behind them and said, you know what? I got your back. I'm going to back you up. And short of declaring war, like you said, Tom, your actions declare war, as far as I'm concerned. You go and bomb 3 of their sites. And so...
just faulty intelligence. Like Mike was saying about the whole... I forgot what war that was.
Iraq?
Iraq.
The Iraqi war.
Now we going through the same steps of based everything on intelligence. When I see photos of bombing, I doubt that those things are real. That's where I'm at in this whole process. If you're not showing me a live bombing, then I can't believe it. You showing me aftermath, I just think so much of AI now that the capability of altering photos is just so strong that you can't trust a photo these days.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this then, Tom. Do you think this hue and cry from the global community at large is just for naught?
No, I don't. I just don't think the photos that I see of the bombing, I just don't think the destruction that they're saying that they did, I don't think that was the case.
So you don't think they're authentic?
I mean,
I'm
not saying they're not authentic. I'm just saying I just don't, going forward, I just don't believe photos. I just got to see live action.
Yeah.
And we had the capability of that with satellite. Yeah. To your point of once the trucks rolled out, why weren't the trucks tracked?
And they gave us a TV view when they got bin Laden.
Yeah, exactly.
They sure did.
Right. But they could suggest that we didn't want to play our hand. So could they show it after the fact? Right. Perhaps.
Yeah, there can still be some video that comes out, but not in real time. It's too
no, I'm not saying real time.
Now, if the war had
within 24 hours, I'm not saying
real
time.
Yeah,
now,
I'm sure they
watching
have
in the Situation Room, I don't want to tap into that.
Well,
as they watch it in the Situation Room take place, I don't need to be that on top of it. I would like to
Mhm.
see video of actions being taken. I mean, we have the capability of doing that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
How would you authenticate them?
The
Point with
source.
AI,
I mean,
they
the
could
source.
produce
I
something
mean,
else.
CNN, MSNBC,
Okay.
Fox, or whoever. I would consider the source. I wouldn't want to see it from a podcast or.
Mhm.
Right.
Fox isn't short of just podcasts or entertainment because they're oblivious to the truth per se. They're just going along with the program. They may as well be a part of his team, and he grants them access for everything. They pretty much support and believe almost everything. Sometimes they come out and they come back and they'll dispel some of the things that he says or he tries to do, but for the most part, they're on board with whatever he does. As a matter of fact, I intended to watch some of their broadcasts prior to joining the podcast just to see if they were going to give it a fair assessment, and I didn't get a chance to. It's tough for me because I'm unfortunately biased against them. It's hard to sell me on anything that they're broadcasting, but maybe that's just my bias.
Okay, now we're here. The bomb has been dropped.
Mhm.
Now, what are we guessing is going to take place on the Hill?
Well, like I said, when I saw that Marjorie Greene came out, and she pretty much is on board with almost everything he does, if not everything, I'm anticipating that there will be others who'll finally be brave enough to express some type of displeasure, not to mention the fact that what he's done is impeachable
I'm sorry.
offense.
You said it is.
And it's been, well, he went around Congress. You can't just simply say as a president, this is what I'm going to do in terms of war, because that's giving one man more power than what we intend for him to have. It's an absolute impeachable offense. And it's a matter of whether or not they'll slap his wrist hard enough to let him realize you've crossed that big red line. You've gone too far.
But you got the Speaker of the House who's saying that he respects Article 1. It's Article 1, right? Congress has the authority.
I believe, I can't quote that, but the Speaker of the House, he's a sham. He's almost like your buddy Mark Rubio. He's just a puppet, a Stepford wife. When you see Mark Rubio now, and I've seen him in pictures over the last couple of days, he looks like a zombie. He has the same expression and very little to say, and he's the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the War Powers Act, Congress has the power to declare war. The president does not.
Right.
Every president prior has always gone to Congress and got authorization before doing something like this.
Well,
thank you.
I just read today that hasn't, since 9/11, that has not taken place.
Well,
so anything Obama did, anything that Trump did again, they did not go.
What the fascists in chief did was challenge another country's sovereignty.
Absolutely.
Over something that was made up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There was no proof that Iran was even close to making a nuclear bomb. And when he was presented with that evidence, he said, I don't want to hear it. Froze her out of the inner circle.
Yep.
He only wanted to hear what he wanted to hear. He said, I believe they have it, and I'm going to do this. That is not what Obama did.
No.
Obama went after one person.
One person.
That we had been after for a long time. We didn't go bombing another country, bombing their military or nuclear capability. We just went in and got the primary culprit that was responsible for 9/11.
Absolutely.
That wasn't an act of war. Any other president who's gone after a specific person, that wasn't an act of war. Again, they didn't bomb innocent civilians. They didn't bomb military sites. They went in with our very skilled SEAL Team 6, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word. Whoever went in there, very skilled at what they do. And our military is very skilled. If they want you, they're going to get your butt. Just as good as the Israeli Assad.
Now, to clarify, you guys are just talking about that single situation with Hussein. But we have taken action. Now, the Obama administration has taken action against Afghanistan, Yemen, Pakistan, Libya, Somalia.
Without consultation or direction from Congress?
Only after an attack on our forces.
Now, that's probably the clear point, Mike, because there was a threat to, you're right.
Right.
And
That's
aggression.
an aggression. They're fighting. So, it's no time to ask Congress. This fight is going on right now. Our military has to act right now. But they didn't go blanket and start just killing everybody. They went after the specific people that was causing that.
Now, the bombing
problem.
that just took place, that didn't involve civilians or, like a mass casualty type situation. But it was targeted.
But it wasn't against us.
I
That's the
agree. We
problem.
being sucked in. We were sucked. Well, we thought, or we stepped into it or whatever. We shouldn't have been a part of it. Yeah, I agree totally.
Netanyahu played us. He wanted this war. He wanted this.
He did.
That's right.
The only thing that's keeping him in office, his political future is definitely at risk. And as long as this war is going on, he's got a safe haven, so to speak. He's, But yeah, we got pulled in. Well, no, we didn't get pulled in. I believe that we wanted to be a part. I really, because some of it is, even though there's potential casualties, some of it is smoke and mirrors. Some of it kind of takes our eye off the prize, so to speak. That big, beautiful bill is still out there, amongst other things that he's probably trying to do. And I don't think he's starting a war specifically for that, but certainly it detracts from the other things that are going on here. That he has to deal with, because his popularity is waning.
It's funny that you say that, because I was still thinking about the shiny object, or the squirrel and the dog, because we no longer focus on L.A. And he's increased the troops there from 2,000 to 4,000.
Right. And nobody even protesting. Well, what is it? People going to work and going about their business, and these people sleeping on the floors and
just because he can. Just because he can.
Right. But then there's
away from the
situation,
families.
as Keith was saying, the distraction over there by stuff that's going on here. Now, what's the next state that's going to take place? I mean, because he was able to get away with it for California, is he going to do it in Arizona? Where is he going to? Is he going to do it in Michigan?
Nope.
When you go sign off and have the National Guard run the streets?
Yeah. The Supreme Court has suggested that it's okay. If he felt that it was necessary, then he has the authority, because it was legally challenged. The governor challenged it, and the Supreme Court said he had the authority to do that. He should have come to the governor respectfully. More importantly, the governor, if he really needed help, he could have reached out to the president. It's not the other way. He doesn't just...
Man, this is crazy. It makes me want to holler. Yeah,
everything that's going on.
This is just crazy. And we have no guardrails, is the simplest way to say it. There's none.
Jim Hall said he's renting free space in every mind of every American, because can we go a day without either thinking about or talking about this guy?
Oh,
free space. Us.
Yeah.
He's got us. So,
I mean, there's been not one day of a non-stressful newscast or whatever. I mean, everything's got tension in it.
Yeah. Everything. And he thrives on tension.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All fascists do. Oh yeah. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
We've seen this playbook before. And like I said last week, democracy is a machine that needs maintenance.
Yes.
Parts have to be maintained and changed. It needs oil and fluids, and you got to check on it. It's up to every generation to do their part to maintain democracy, just like you maintain your car.
Mm-hmm.
Democracy has to be maintained in a similar fashion. It's going to evolve, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. Democracy is messy. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, it works. Everybody doesn't get everything they want, but in the end, everybody wants to go home at the end of the day, raise their kids, and live a peaceful life. And that is true all over the world, no matter where you go. Right. Iraq, Iran, Israel, Palestine. That's all people want, to live their life in peace.
That's what they want. But Mike, okay, so all of that said, you have to admit that this administration has put democracy to the test. So I'm going to presume, based on your statement, that we're going to survive, and on the other side, we'll still have a democracy. But they've pushed back our progress so far, it's almost going to have to be like a rebuild. I can't even fathom where the trust from the other countries are going to come from if we put one clown in, and heaven forbid if another clown comes behind him. And it doesn't matter the party if he's a clown, because the blueprint has been established. Presidents going forward could clearly say, if he did it, why can't I? here's the thing. The checks and balances are out of whack.
Yes, they
right?
are.
Because before, you didn't have, I'll call it a supermajority. When you've got the Congress is stacked right now, the Senate is stacked right now, and by appointment, so is the Supreme Court. And so when you've got everything leaning to the right, it's off balance. And so if a leader comes in and he's autocratic or fascist and his party supports it, you put democracy at risk and you put it to the test. And so it doesn't feel good, but if a lesson can be learned, then we rebuild and we restructure and we come out on the other side and we still have a democracy, then it was a test that should put us on alert for generations.
Right. Yeah.
And that's important.
Yes.
Because I said it before, just because it is doesn't mean it will always be.
Right.
So we've taken it for granted, willy-nilly, we've gone about our way saying, hey, this is a democracy and everything is going to be all right. But guess what? To your point, if everybody's not paying attention and trying to maintain what we have, it could go away.
When we were young and our parents were young, they were involved in our democracy, especially our parents and our grandparents. These younger folks today seem to be disconnected from democracy because of TikTok and Instagram, and I'm just going to say, the cell phone.
So are you saying save the children, Mike?
Save them, right? There we go. Good one, Tom.
All 50 states have social studies standards, which include civics and government. 39 states require at least one course in government civics. But then I scroll down a little further and it says teachers or educators in K-12 schools feel unprepared to teach civics.
See, so if they're unprepared to teach it and they're forced to teach it, it's not being taught in a manner that would challenge the students.
Their thinking.
Right, to challenge their thinking. Look, you want to keep democracy or don't you? This is why you have what you have. World War II is why we are where we are today.
Right.
And that's the biggest thing to me that wasn't taught. In my own research with people that I've interacted with, when I asked about some of the younger people, what were you taught in history? Were you taught about World War II? And they say, yeah, a little bit of this, a little bit, not really about, all they know is that the Jewish people were persecuted in Germany during World War II and the Americans came and liberated them. It's basically what they know. They don't know what happened previous, how that all came about. First, they went for the immigrants. And I wasn't an immigrant. That's the saying. I wasn't an immigrant, so I remained silent. Then they came for the gay people. I'm not gay, and so I remained silent. Then they came for the tradesmen in Germany. That's what they did. I'm not in the trade, so I remained silent.
Right.
Then they came from me.
Right.
Nobody was there to speak up for me. Right. You didn't speak up for anybody else. And then they came for you, and there was nobody left to speak up for you. And that's what happened in Germany. That is what's been here. But at least we're speaking up. We're seeing the INS protests all over the country. And even now, I was a little bit taken aback by what I saw. A unmarked car with 3 white males dressed in tactical gear just got out and tried to snatch somebody up off the street.
Yeah.
They didn't have any official INS thing. Yeah. And then when the guy ran and went behind closed doors, they just got back in their car and pulled off. So that showed me that no, they are not even INS. INS would have came in behind him. And if this is a person they were going after, they would have went after him. But no, these were some wannabes just snatching people up off the street.
But think about it, Mike. You make a good point. Now, under the guise of being ICE or INS or whatever authority, you always have people who try to act like an FBI agent with an FBI vest or a police officer with a uniform. Under the guise of working in those capacities officially, you're going to have people come up missing just because you've got some people out here who take the authority and they're fakes and they're doing dirt because they're under the guise of being INS or ICE. I just want to, because you said civics, Tom, I want to get real elementary here, what that's really all about. So When you Google civics, at least what I Googled, it says civics is the study of the principles and practices of citizenship, including the rights, duties, and responsibilities of citizens within a society, particularly in a democratic context. It encompasses understanding how governments function, how laws are made, and how citizens can participate in the political process. Civic education aims to equip individuals with the knowledge, skills, and values necessary to be informed and engaged members of their communities. To that point, and to the point of teachers being able to educate our youth, it's shifting with what has gone on in our country. There's always been the Republican Party, the Democratic Party, and more recently, the independents are becoming a little bit more involved, or maybe I dare say a lot more involved. Laws are changing all the time. Rules are changing all the time. And in this environment, they're strongly encouraging everything that's not a Republican ideology is bad, fake, or wrong. They're impacting education by trying to dictate what we can and cannot teach. How can educators get across a message, especially in this environment where you're being penalized if you're doing anything that's anti-MAGA? How do you get a message across if you got kids who are in a MAGA household, you got kids in a Democratic household? Where's the truth? They can educate to the point where this is how you go about it. These are the opportunities you have, and you should fight, to Mike's point, for what you believe in if we were going to sustain our democracy. But it could be confusing to not only communicate, but for the kids who are living it every day, because they see how their parents are. If you imagine being in a household that's MAGA and you're an impressionable
Well, it's not
kid.
just to MAGA, Keith. I mean, think about when we talk about racism in a household.
MAGA.
I mean, even in a black household, you've had people who traditionally say, okay, those white folks. And you always...
And I did say,
but I'm just saying, but anything a young,
Yeah.
impressionable mind becomes a sponge to that. Yeah,
That's what they absorb.
They absorb that. So that, I mean, at some points,
so it's colored by their experience and what they're influenced by. So if I'm a teacher trying to impart, I'm left to center, right of
and all people are equal.
Are equal. So, but from on high, on the society, it's different. It could be confusing and difficult to communicate. Regardless of the teacher, you're colored by your own experiences and your thoughts and your feelings. If everybody's not playing out of the same playbook, then it doesn't matter. If you can teach whatever you want to teach, how you want to teach it, then you're going to influence a person based on your own bias. Or you're going to try to influence a person based on your own bias. Look at who's over education nationally now. This is McMahon's wife, the wrestler, WWE, Linda McMahon. But what camp is she out of?
WWE camp.
But she's trying to erase everybody's history except the WWE's history.
To your point, what you guys are saying, based on everybody, people are going to, based on their experience. Racism is a learned behavior.
Absolutely.
And is learned in the home. Mm-hmm. We all have our ideas about race based on our parents. That is the bottom line. As a child, you're in the home with what your parents say, you're listening. Even when you're not listening, you're listening. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Your brain is just absorbing that. And that is what you become. I remember the study where the kids, and this was, people got upset about this. Don't you remember this documentary done about this?
Are you referring to the Dows? Or are you referring to another?
The eye color.
Think I know.
They went into a classroom, and the teachers at this school were staunchly against this. They went into this classroom and told all the kids in the classroom, those of you with the brown eyes, you are all the smartest people.
I remember that.
Right. And those of you with the black eyes, or, you
throw whatever color out there, right? Just by example.
Right. People who were friends, who played with each other every day, all of a sudden, we're not friends. Because the kids all of a sudden start looking at each other and at recess migrated toward the people with the same color eyes as they had, regardless of skin color. They migrated toward everybody who had, so it was so bad. The people the kids who had good grades, but who were told that they were dumb because of the color of their eyes, their grades went down.
They started underperforming?
Yes, because they were told
Right.
they're dumb.
Okay.
And the kids with the other color eyes, even if their grades were a little bit lower, all of a sudden, oh, I'm smart. And they started performing better. The friendships were broken up.
Mm-hmm.
And it lasted them the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
I remember them talking about that. They had a childhood friend, but after this happened, they weren't friends anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Only because somebody told them
Mm-hmm.
that you're smarter than this person, you're dumb, you're smart. Even though somebody told them that.
Mm-hmm.
And they acted on that because an adult who had authority over them told them, no, even though you have all A's, you're dumb.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, that all A student, grades went straight down. And then later on, they came back and told them, no, that wasn't true. But it never repaired the friendships. Some of the grades changed, but the friendships did not. They never went back to being close to the other person. So it is a learned behavior. And once ingrained, that's it. So that shows if you're told to hate somebody, that's what you're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're taught at a young age, oh, no, you can't do this. But if you're told that, yes, you can. Yes, the DNA within you survived the Middle Passage. You can do anything on this planet that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
If we tell, I'm getting excited. If we tell Black people.
I almost stood up. It is.
Yeah, our DNA survived the Middle Passage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So African American, that's can.
All right, now somebody preaching.
That's
what we want to do.
Preach.
That's what, if we teach, when we say save the children, that's what you want to teach the kids.
Yeah.
Our kids.
Yeah.
You can do. No, we're not can'ts.
Yeah.
Right. Your DNA survives, so you can go as far as you want to go.
But you know what, Mike? The other side of that coin is this. You're absolutely right. I agree with you 100%. But you cannot go about lifting up your own and denigrating someone else.
Right.
So to my point is, there's not a problem in terms of your own innate bias to make sure that you want better for your children, right? Or people who look like you, but not at the expense of somebody who doesn't look like you. Right now, we're at a time in our history where everything is divisive. And we're headed towards a point of there's already segregation for what segregation is worth, whether it's by wealth or typically by color or both. But you can't be in a society and expect good things to happen when it's always they or them. If we raise our children to be racist, they'll be racist. But if we focus on making them be the best person that they can be, spiritually and mentally, physically, then that's what they focus on. But they don't focus on somebody who doesn't look like them, or for the sake of this conversation, just because somebody's Caucasian doesn't mean they're bad. That, for me, going forward, is going to be one of the biggest challenges as we live in a society where things are starting to be very divisive. And so people start to look at each other with a side eye. You start to look at people differently. And so if somebody has been your dear friend for years, and now they're espousing things that you don't believe in, you begin to personalize it. So, in other words, if you're somebody who's always been on the left and your friend has always been on the right, but you've acknowledged that and continued to go forward and respectfully say, hey, you believe what you believe, I believe what I believe, it's gone beyond that. Now, it's if you don't believe what I believe, you can't be a good person.
Right. Yeah,
and that's just not the way
not.
it is. So we've got to find a way not only to educate the kids and lift them up, but we've got to make sure that we're not divisive. To me, going forward, that's going to be the challenge, because it was bad before when what do you call them? The fascists?
Fascists.
Fascists. You know, he said that time was great, but it wasn't great for somebody who looked like you or me.
Right.
So we want to go forward, and we do want to continue to make it great as we were doing prior to him coming into office, because he's trying to set everything back. Unfortunately, it always gets back to where we are because, as I said, he does have his space in our head rent-free. And where we are now in our society, it's hard to talk about any topic without talking about the damage that they are doing.
That's crazy. We can't talk about anything without it coming back to him.
And it makes you want to holler.
Yeah.
It makes you want to
Yeah.
holler.
What we need is a good sitcom right now. Like, remember All in the Family, Archie
Yeah,
Bunker?
Archie Bunker and
You
George
know,
Jefferson.
yeah. He was America's favorite racist, but
Yeah,
he was funny. He
yeah.
was funny. And if you think about it, it was funny.
He was
And it
hilarious.
kind of, right, it kind of, I don't want to say made racism okay, but
You could laugh at how ignorant it was.
right, correct. You can
And
laugh at it.
George
Right.
Jefferson was equally
Yes,
ignorant, and
yes.
he was a
Oh
black
my,
race.
yeah, exactly. We need something. We need a sitcom like that right now.
True.
To cool people out. And if you can't laugh at yourself, something's really wrong. So
Now, I was listening to what you were saying, Keith, and I'm in total agreement with it. But I'm also thinking about the next generation of kids or young adults and their friendships that they have in the racial relationships. The population at some point will be not 50% of white America. It'll be 60, 70% of people of color. And so at that point, I think that increases because it's definitely increasing. I don't see it going backwards. But
that's MAGA
that's
fuel.
for them. Yeah. But I'm saying politically, we were talking about being civic minded or being society minded of how things should things benefit that new generation, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I don't think MAGA can stop that. That's my point.
I think you're right too, Tom, because our kids took a look at us and how we responded to the world and how we reacted. All of us here have friends of different races, and we embrace it. We don't shy away from it. To your point, if I go to my son's house and he's having a barbecue or whatever, there's not just African Americans there. There are different races there, and they truly respect and enjoy each other, and that's the way it should be. So, yeah, I think there's hope for sure, because to your point, if you've got interracial couples and you're seeing more and more interracial couples, where do you draw the line? I mean, what side do you really land on, right? Because one parent is one color and another parent is another color or another culture. And so, you shouldn't have to choose. And to that end, I think that it does make things better. I think there's more of an open society and more of an accepting society. But I think that right now, just like Mike talked about democracy, that's inclusive. There's a pull to separate us so we can be divisive and decide that we want to go back to them versus us. And we want to look at them differently. And I would be willing to bet that in some households now, where maybe before they would not think about discouraging, they're probably discouraging their children from having relationships with other cultures and other races. Yeah. Not that I think that it's probably going to become more and more apparent.
It's their world. What we have going on now is, fascists in chief and others, they want to continue what they want. They'll be dead and gone.
Right.
But they want the kids to continue to do that.
Right.
The kids don't want to do that.
Yes.
It's their world. They'll decide what kind of America or what kind of world they want.
Great point.
It's not up to us to tell them, you can't do this, you can't do that. No, they can do what they want to do. It's their world. Our time is up.
Great point.
Our time is up. Right. So wanting to perpetuate your own view of how things should be on earth once you're gone, that's just sick to me. I know some people want to have a legacy, but you got to realize, number one, nothing that we do in the long run, it really doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
This planet, this rock hurling around in space with some air and some water has not always been able to support human life. And going forward, it's not going to always be able to support human life. This is just a little drop in time that we are existing. You think about it. Did it make any difference what anybody in Rome did? Any of those Caesars and all? Does any of that make any difference today? Not really.
I mean, no. It set an example for future generations, but to your point, the good book says we're but a vapor, but a mist.
Right.
And so in the scheme of things, we're only here for the twinkling of an eye, right, Tom?
Right. There you go, twinkling of an eye. Right. And I'm okay with that. Hey,
so is that a lead up to talking about climate change next week?
I didn't know we were talking about climate change.
Hey, Hey, look, if this is barbershop talk, I'm ready to talk about whatever you throw at me. I may not have the most knowledge, but I can let you know how I feel. So if that's what we're talking about, let's do it.
Yeah, the climate change. It's
Climate has changed.
it's
Literally,
figuratively
yep,
and literally. That's right.
Yes,
Has
yep.
changed.
yes.
Well, all right, gentlemen.
Oh,
Thank
man.
you for a good week.
Yes, we will. Thank
Appreciate
you,
you.
Tom. Thank you, Keith.
To learn more about today's topics, become a subscriber or receive notifications, text us or become a supporter, go to the show description. That's all the time we have this week. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with the What's Going On podcast.